Welcome back to Red Pill Examined, where I look at and debunk Red Pill talking points and expose Red Pill content creators as hypocrites, liars, and scammers. And for today's video, I want to illustrate what this Red Pill ideology eventually leads to, which is a life of perpetual singlehood and loneliness that in recent years has been getting more and more mainstream coverage as the number of elderly men and women committing suicide or dying alone in nursing homes has continued to increase. And so to illustrate this point, we'll be looking at former radio personality Tom Leykis, who is oftentimes referred to as the godfather of the Red Pill. And one of the things that Tom Leykis used to talk about and criticize women for on his radio show was the dog mom phenomenon, where unmarried childless women use pets as child substitutes. Now, while there is truth to that statement, what I pointed out in a previous video is that the Red Pill men who have followed in Tom Leykis' footsteps are themselves guilty of the exact same thing. That is, using pets, whether it be a dog or a cat, to fill the void of a wife and or child. And much like these Red Pill content creators, Tom Leykis, now in his later years, has also done a complete 180 and has become the poster child for what he once lambasted women for, as he's recently come out and admitted to having had a dog and even ended up breaking down in tears over said dog recently passing away. And so what I want to do next is play a few clips to compare Tom Leykis then versus Tom Leykis now, so that you guys can see the difference in his disposition. And while that's playing, I want you guys to also pay very close attention to how Tom Leykis talks about his dog, so that you can draw the parallel between his dog and his obvious longing for the type of intimacy and companionship that only a wife and or child can bring.
When unmarried women are walking around with animals, that these are women who want to have babies. And because they can't find the right man with whom to have a baby, and because they don't want to shoulder that burden alone, they get animals. And it's fascinating. It's pretty consistent. The women with pets are using them as a substitute for babies they haven't had yet. And sometimes they think, maybe I'll never have a baby, so I have a pet.
I've been thinking about how to say this and what exactly to tell you. But I lost my best friend. And my best friend is not a radio person, not a celebrity, not a man, not a woman, not even a human. My best friend is my dog, Hazel.
Now, anybody who's ever been to a dog pound, people say, oh, don't go to one of those breeders. Don't go to a pet shop. Go to a dog pound. There's so many unwanted pets. Go to a dog pound. But, of course, many of the dogs at the dog pound were terrorized by their mean owners, kicked around, beaten, locked in closets, locked in kennels. So by the time they get to you, they can be downright scared of you, or worse yet, dangerous to you.
Hazel was presented to me. Hazel had been abused as a young dog, as a puppy, kicked around, literally kicked. And I was asked if I would like to be the guardian of Hazel. I was Hazel's guardian, just because I felt a kinship with Hazel.
You go to these women's apartments, and they've got the pets running around, and the pets are eating gourmet cat food, whatever that is. They're having dogs eating gourmet dog food. Dogs eat vomit. Dogs eat their own waste. You do not have to get a dog gourmet anything. And there are women who just lavish all this money and attention on their dogs. It's pretty outrageous.
You know, you give up some of your freedom. You start changing the foods you're eating so you can share at dinner. And there were certain things Hazel couldn't eat. Dogs shouldn't be eating onions, turkey, grapes. There's a list. I know the list. And so gradually when I would have dinner, I would start thinking more about the things that we could share. And she would sit there and wait for me to notice her. And she wanted me to feed her out of my hand. That's what she wanted. she understood the phrase prime meat. Because she didn't care if it was beef stew I was making or chicken or all kinds of other things. She wanted a piece of my ribeye steak. And if I wasn't making something she liked, she'd pout. She would go away and turn her back on me. But she'd eventually come back, and there she would be lying next to my chair and waiting for me to give her little bits and pieces of what I was eating. She loved it, and in the end, I loved it. I'd give anything to be feeding her right now.
How about the woman I was with? Every time I went away on business, I tried to bring one of my ex-girlfriends with me when I would travel. Many weekends we would have spent out of town. We didn't because she couldn't find someone to take care of the dog. What is that all about? Are you kidding me? We're going to go away. We got to take the dog. What is that? It's a dog. It's not a baby. It's a dog. But women see them like babies. Women see them like children. These are the children they never had. It's pathetic.
And there's no doubt that the proper ownership of a pet really involves a lot of that. You have to give up a lot. And I gave up trips. I gave up visits from people. People gave me shit for putting such a priority on Hazel. I had to skip trips, social occasions, events, because I was just imagining Hazel locked up in a cage at a kennel somewhere while I go to a party, or Hazel falling off the bed when I wasn't there to monitor where she was going and what she was doing. I had to give up a lot, and I took a lot of shit from friends, family members. What are you doing? It's a fucking dog. What are you doing? It wasn't just a fucking dog. It was Hazel.
It's a dog. It's not a baby. It's a dog. But I would say women, especially women who have lots of pets, they are to be avoided resolutely. They will choose the pets over you.
I had a veterinarian who would come over here because Hazel could not even walk in the end. Hazel couldn't walk. Hazel couldn't go out to pee. I had to take her out. This episode would not be complete without me telling you this. I stopped doing a live show in October 2018. That's when I stopped. Stopped being live from this here studio at my ranch.
Many times these women have the pets sleeping in their bed every night.
I began to think that I might have been one of the first people with COVID because I felt like I was gonna die. And do you know that Hazel, when she found out I was sick 5 years ago, got into bed with me and would not leave my side 24/7 for almost 2 solid months.
And there are women who just lavish all this money and attention on their dogs. It's pretty outrageous.
The doctor had been inspecting Hazel on a regular basis, and I said to the doctor, look, I'm not looking to save money. I'm not looking to make this easy on myself. I want Hazel to have every minute on this earth that she was meant to have. I will put up with the inconvenience and the cost to do that.
Now, the purpose in playing these clips is to show that human beings, whether it be men or women, were never meant to be alone. And Tom Leykis serves as a perfect example of what happens to the vast majority of single, childless men who find themselves alone in their later years with no family to call their own. That is, they either die alone in a nursing home, commit suicide, or in Tom Leykis' case, cling on to domesticated pets, start to develop unnatural and unhealthy bonds with these pets to the point to where they start referring to them as their best friends, as if these animals are actual human beings. But such are the consequences of a man whose psyche has become broken from not just solitude, but also from living the bachelor lifestyle that he once promoted to other men on the radio for years. a lifestyle that when closely observed is no different than what the average feminist promotes. A lifestyle that in the end has left him old, alone, childless, and so desperate for any type of meaningful intimacy that he turned to a dog to fill that void. And so to conclude this video, I'm going to play some additional audio from Tom Leykis speaking about his dead dog Hazel. And again, I want you guys to pay close attention to how he talks about this dog so that you can once again draw the parallels and see that he's speaking about this dog as if it was his wife and or child.
My objections to Hazel began to evaporate as I saw that she needed me. It took a long time for me to realize that I needed her. I really did. She didn't need a lot, didn't ask a lot, didn't want the things dogs want, okay? Didn't need peanut butter or fudge or, liver snaps or whatever. Nothing. She just wanted to lie there next to me or sit in my lap. In the beginning, she needed it more than I would ever think I would need it. Now that I don't have it, I miss it very much. I miss Hazel very much. To a certain extent, it's not permanent. And it'll go away with time. But to a certain extent, I'm a broken man. Because I loved her so much. I cared a lot. More than I ever thought I could. I had a veterinarian who would come over here because Hazel could not even walk in the end. Hazel couldn't walk. Hazel couldn't go out to pee. I had to take her out. She had to be lifted and placed in the grass so she could take a pee. In the end, sometimes she wouldn't make it to the door. And so I would spend half my day cleaning shit, cleaning piss, cleaning vomit. And I'd happily do it all again right now. She was worth everything. So there was that experience. And there was the other experience where God, that was, I think back on that and I think of the love that transpired between me and Hazel. Oh, sure, Hazel was a dog, but she taught me more than most teachers ever taught me about love, about commitment, about caring. Hazel made me open to the idea of love. Now, I'm not in favor of, paying people to be my girlfriend or paying people to marry me or giving people everything I have. I'm not into that. But I never thought I could be that unselfish. I never thought I could show love or talk in a loving way without embarrassing myself. Hazel, without knowing it, taught me how to love, how to be in love, how to treat someone you love. Yeah, I know, you think I'm insane, right? Okay. All I know is that I got more from Hazel than I got from most, not all, but most people I've ever known. The doctor had been inspecting Hazel on a regular basis, and I said to the doctor, look, I'm not looking to save money. I'm not looking to make this easy on myself. I want Hazel to have every minute on this earth that she was meant to have. And I will put up with the inconvenience and the cost to do that. But the doctor came over and did blood work. It turned out that her kidneys were starting to malfunction. It was going to get worse. And so I had to take my best friend. I had to put her on my lap. I had to hold her with both hands. She was looking up at me. I think she knew what was coming. She had to be put down in my lap. Still feeling the grease of the meat on my hand. Her body still warm. She held on to me for dear life. She trusted me, and I can't get over the fact that I had to trick her into lying in my lap, and she trusted me implicitly while they were putting her to death. Because I learned a lot with this experience. And I will always treasure the time I spent with Hazy. Life isn't always convenient or pleasant. No matter how much money you have or no matter how much you've accomplished, we are all vulnerable.